Let's talk about modern Muslim men. Let's say an average Abdul, right? Average Abdul. He has absolutely no confidence, no backbone, no opinions. He does basically whatever his parents tell him to do. So when they say, Abdul, you have to go to university, he says, well, of course, yeah, what should I study? Engineering? Well, I don't know anything about engineering, but yeah, of course, yeah, I'll do it, yeah. Abdul, you can't get married until you finish your degree. Oh, yeah, of course, yeah, okay, no woman, no woman. I'm just gonna repress myself. So when Abdul finally goes out into the big, scary world, he has to face predators like me, snakes, rats, and then he wonders why he feels so insecure when he's just been following the society protocol this whole time. Why is he so insecure? Well, I'm someone who's experienced both sides of the coin, if you will. For most of my life, I would have been extremely anxious, like just a complete pussy. I was terrified to even leave the house out of fear that I would just get bashed. Like, for some reason, as soon as I go out to the street, some guy would just bash me. It was a genuine fear I had. I would avoid anything that involved me going into public for a long time or even taking up anything that has anything to do with responsibility. I would avoid it. I wasn't thinking this consciously, but it was deep in my brain. Just like most of you might have a bit of this in your brain right now as well. You just don't realize it. When I look around at most of the Muslim brothers, a lot of them are going through those exact same things that I used to go through. I can see it in their eyes. But can you even blame them? Because our whole purpose, according to the society, is to just be a workaround. And whenever a woman gets mad, whenever a woman complains, we have to keep our mouth shut and just repress our masculinity. Even though we want to put them in their place, we want to get angry. But that's toxic. Anything to do with aggression, masculinity, is frowned upon. If you display anything that your body wants you to do, your brain wants you to do, you will be labeled as a bad person. You will be labeled as a threat to the society, to women. You're a horrible person. Just imagine walking up to the average Abdul, right? And he's with his wife. He just got married. He's so happy. He's got like a lollipop, whatever. So you go up to his wife and you insult her. You say, Bushra, you're an idiot. And your husband is an idiot too. How do you think average Abdul is going to react? Knowing exactly what I mean when I say average Abdul, you know who I'm talking about. He's going to poo himself. He's going to be like, what do I even do in this position? He wants to activate this part of his brain, the animal part. But that part is dormant because since childhood, that part has been denied and is repressed. Anything that's repressed either becomes really stagnant and they go too much the other way. In this case, they just become extremely feminine. Or the other side of the coin is they just become like all these brothers who pretend that they're gangsters. Hang around in very big groups, pretend to have guns, knives, threaten people. I've even seen, roll up random guys in the street and try to fight them. These guys aren't strong. A lot of you might think these guys are the representation of masculinity. The truth is, those men have repressed their masculinity so badly that it's erupted. It's become something that they can't even control. So they have to find some weird ways to take it out. It's a tribal mentality because imagine back in the day, like, we'd all hang around with a bunch of men and hunt down animals, hunt down other tribes. That's what they think they're doing. That's the animal part. The reptile brain is what they call it scientifically. So the truth is, those men aren't good either. They're crazy. You want to avoid both extremes. I'm going to tell you now how I personally overcame these barriers. How I found a way to integrate my masculinity. Now don't get me wrong, I still have a long way to go. But I've taken a few steps in the right direction and I'm going to tell you how. So when I was going through my pussy phase, as I've told you earlier, I was basically studying. I was in university, right? Just like you probably are. And the whole time, somehow I knew I was wasting my time. Because I wasn't able to get ambitious about it. Because it's just, what am I doing? I'm writing stuff on a piece of paper. Who came up with this? Do I even care? Do I really even care about, 10 plus 10, 2 plus 2, all this dumbass stuff? Why do I care about it? And then, sometime later, I came up across this opportunity. I met some Russian guys, and I speak fluent Russian, so it just happens, right? You come up with the community, and one of the men I met owned the construction site. So it was a bunch of, you can imagine, really rough, bitter men. who are working all day, all night, carrying really heavy metal. So I was at the gym, so he tells me, well, if you're a strong man, you should come work on my construction site with all the crazy dudes. And I don't know if he was serious, maybe he was trying to mock me, but I left, right, on that day after the gym, and I was at home thinking the whole time, that sounds like one hell of an opportunity. Not to make money, just to prove myself. My whole life I've seen myself as a loser. I never thought that I could be a top man, and here I have an opportunity where I could actually prove myself. So a day or two passes by, and I decided to give that guy a call. I'm like, hey man, I want to take up your offer. I'm not a pussy. I want to actually work with men. I was only like 19 or 18 at this time, and so he picks me up at like 5 a.m. I didn't even have my license at that time, bro. That's how pussy I was. So he picks me up. We start at like 6 a.m. or I don't remember, and all day long I'm just carrying heavy metal, right? And I'm just trying to like cope. My body's messed up, my brain is messed up. I keep trying to push forward. I'm struggling, don't get me wrong, but I keep pushing, and it becomes harder and harder. But over time, after doing this for a few months, I realized I never thought I could do this. I never thought I could be around strong men and carry these heavy metals and build houses. Like, I was like, this is insane. Like, what am I capable of? And then my masculine part of the brain starts coming out slowly, right? And I start taking up more and more challenges. From there on, long story short, I start doing martial arts. I start going really hard at the gym. I'm going to tournaments. I'm doing public speaking. Everything I'm afraid of, I'm just automatically pursuing. And on top of that, I started getting more into deen. Because what happened was I realized that society has been lying to me the whole time. So if you're not going to listen to the society, what are you going to listen to? Islam. That's when I started becoming more and more Islamic. I started doing my prayers. I started understanding the connection between me and Allah. And this is exactly what Allah wants you to do. He doesn't want you to be at home, not doing anything, locked up in your house, being scared. You think that makes you a good man. It doesn't. This is a lot easier said than done. You have to figure out your own process of what to do. Maybe you have to start going to the gym and going extremely hard. Maybe you should go to an MMA gym and get the crap beaten out of your face. I had to get punched in the face like 10 times really hard until I started realizing, okay, I actually have to punch back. If you found this video helpful, go check out this other video I made. It tells you a little bit more of how my story went when I started coming up. I just gave you a very brief idea here.